end of the show, any viewers that would like to ask any questions that they may have to a skeptic, go ahead and put that in the live chat. We actually have Nikki that's with us, and she will try to save those for us, and she may jump in a little bit later to help ask some of those questions. But I'd like to thank everybody that's here with us, and Rob, thank you so much for doing this. And
thank you for having me.
Without further ado, I'll go ahead and ask the first question.
All right.
With all these movies and television programs popping up all the time, has it ever made you curious whether there is any truth to the paranormal, or better known as ghost hunting?
Is there any truth based on TV shows and movies? I think that the TVs and movies have piqued my interest in the possibility of it, but I have generally taken it face value as nothing more than entertainment. I think that's where I would be coming from on that. In the end, they all have contracts, they all have shareholders, and they all have money to make. And I don't think that their true goal in the end is to prove or disprove the paranormal, but to make money. And I think that contaminates that field, in my opinion.
Okay. And when someone talks about a time they thought something paranormal had happened to them, what is normally your thought in that manner? You know, what normally would you think when they tell you that?
When somebody tells me about their personal paranormal experience, my first initial response is a bit of envy and a bit of jealousy. I believe that they may be experiencing it for themselves. I just don't know that what, you know, there may be so many other underlying factors that are being left out of what I'm being told, because, you know, they're so excited that this one thing happened. You know, they're not really, when somebody tells me, they tell me where they were, who they were talking to, and what they saw, and what time of day it was. You know, they didn't tell me whether, you know, they had, you know, just drank 10 Red Bulls, or they had, you know, maybe smoked some pot, or, you know, there's so many other factors that I think that go into something like that. You know, had they just woken up? Had they just fallen asleep? Was it in a dream? Was it, you know, that there's a lot that gets left out of most of these personal stories that I hear from people, that it raises more questions for me than it does affirm anything, I think.
All right. That was a great answer. Definitely a good way to look at, you know, that type of situation or happening for somebody. Next question would be, do you think it is actually in the mind of the beholder, or is it that some people believe in it so much that they will almost make themselves believe it?
In the mind of the beholder, or do you think that they want to so much that they do believe in it?
Right, perhaps they manifested it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there may be a bit of a placebo effect in some cases. I believe there's two types of people in this world. There are leaders and there are followers. And I think that the followers would be the people who see this as such a great thing and such a great idea, and it's, you know, this new thing, and it's cool, and it's at the forefront, and it's on TV, and, you know, I know a guy who does investigations, and I believe in it because they do, you know, without ever having really experienced it. And just kind of, I would say that's kind of like the blind faith aspect of it. And in the eye of the beholder, I think would be somebody like a leader who's at the forefront of this. It's really trying to prove or disprove, and is seeing things that they can't understand, is seeing things that they can't explain, and they try to over and over in their head, you know. And I think it could go both ways. I think that the answer is yes to both. That both people do exist, leaders and followers. I think it is in the eye of the beholder, and I think it is people who just want to believe so badly that they just do. So I think that both of those people exist. There are either one of them right or wrong. I don't know. That's not for me to say. Until I experience or have an interaction with those individuals or those people that believe a certain type of way, I don't think it is for me to say right or wrong. But I do believe that they both exist.
Okay. Have you ever been in a supposedly haunted location, and did any odd things happen that you truly couldn't explain rationally?
I have been in some supposedly haunted locations, but it was purely hearsay from my friends. I haven't been into any of the popular locations, but my friends will say, "Oh, this cemetery is haunted, or this place is haunted, or let's go over there. Supposedly there's a ghost, and you can. If we go over this bridge and you listen close enough, you can hear a baby crying, and there's this whole story behind it." And I would think that a haunted location is an extremely relative term based on who believes what, when, where, and why. But I've never experienced anything in these supposedly haunted. I have not. No.
As a child, did you ever feel you believed in ghosts or things in the paranormal?
No, I really didn't even think about it as a child, to be honest with you. I think the extent of my paranormal experience as a child was, and I don't mean this in a manner to patronize anybody, was watching Casper the Ghost, or throwing a blanket over my head and trying to scare my little sister. Honestly, I never really thought about it up until this point, probably about a couple months ago. When my wife was really saying, "Hey, you need to check this out," and I resisted for so long, and I finally gave in and became part of a community, and now I'm learning.
A theory is that as we get older, we are conditioned to believe that they don't exist. What is your take on that? Like, as a child, we are told by our parents that ghosts or spirits do not exist. Do you believe that is a factor in why people are skeptical?
I think that could be a factor in some people's lives. I know that a lot of people have been raised atheist and become a Christian. I know a lot of people have been raised a Christian and become an atheist. So I don't know that maybe an impact on the decision making of an individual later on. I think that's completely subjective to how open-minded that person may be. But as far as being taught at a young age that ghosts don't exist, I think that's more or less the childhood fears of monsters under the bed, or the boogeyman in the closet, and being told that they're not real, so that the parents can get a good night's sleep. I think is where that's coming from.
All right. Another theory is that we also block out the possibility because of fear. What would your thought be on that type of situation or subject?
Well, I come from a pretty unique background, having been in the Army. So fear is healthy, and it's generally what would keep one alive. But as far as blocking out fears, I think that fear is a minor portion of what some people blocked out. I think it's more of a fear of the unknown. Like it would be like walking into a dark room or a dark house that you've never been into before. That doesn't mean that you think that there's a ghost or a spirit or a monster or a goblin or a robber or a murderer in there. You don't know, and I think that's what more people people fear, and that's respectable because it's part of survival, and that survival instinct is so ingrained in us that anything that makes us question what other people's motives are will make us very, very skeptical of a certain place or a certain thing. Like eating puffer fish, for instance. We know that if it's not cut correctly, it can kill you. And a lot of people don't know, oh, did this chef, I'll never eat puffer fish because I don't know if the guy who's cutting it right did. So that it's a healthy fear. I think it's a survival instinct kicking in, that primal will to survive more than fear. I think maybe those two go hand in hand. But the unknown is a very scary thing for a lot of people because they want to live and endure and survive. So I think that the spirits and the ghosts and the paranormal kind of play into that will to survive because of the unknown.
The word paranormal has many meanings. It can be associated with aliens. It can be associated with ghosts, with spirits, with witchcraft. Bigfoot is another one. When you hear the word paranormal, what does it make you typically think of?
When I hear the word paranormal, the first thing that comes to mind is telekinesis, ESP, spirits, ghosts, anything that cannot be explained within the reasonable scope of what science tells us may or may not exist. It's a very loose term. It's very, very broad. It can be used in a lot of different instances. I know that I've even heard paranormal used for the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti and the Bigfoot as well. And I think sometimes it can be subjective.
Some people associate everything from witchcraft and so forth. I'm not sure why it's the same question. I'll just skip to the next one. That was kind of a typo. Actually, the best question to ask is for a lot of different people with ghosts or with spirits or demons or angels and so forth. It has a lot to do with faith or lack of faith and so forth. Depending on the opinion of the person or the ghost hunter or the individual. So the question I asked, just because it's actually kind of curious, is what is your thoughts on afterlife? Yours personally as a skeptic.
My thoughts on the afterlife. Wow, what a great question. Boy. I do believe in a heaven and hell. I have a very religious outlook on what the afterlife could be based on faith. It's I believe in a heaven and hell, and I believe that there's the possibility that when people die, that their soul maybe goes to one place or the other. I think that there's a possibility that their souls may reside here until Judgment Day. I believe that anything could be in the afterlife. There may not even be an afterlife. I don't quite know. I think I'm on the fence on the afterlife. I believe there is a heaven and hell. Yes, I do. But that's my reality. But as far as what happens, I can't tell you it's fact. I can't tell you that it's real. I'd like to know, and I could get into such a deep religious conversation about that, but I think on the surface, I just have to say that I believe there's a heaven and hell, but I also believe in the possibility of other possibilities.
No, that was a great answer. After the questions, actually, we can talk a little more in depth about some of the answers and so forth. I'd love to. There is a theory of spirits or ghosts being from a different dimension. That to them, we are ghosts and spirits, and that they are actually just living their lives. Is there any thought that you may have with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that coming from a religious background and believing in a God, an almighty creator, that it would be ignorant and asinine and probably on the arrogant side of me to believe that anything isn't possible. I mean, if he is a God and he is almighty, then why put him in a box and say that that's not possible? I would even venture to say that if the paranormal is real, maybe we're talking to people from the future or the past. Time is something that is created by humans, and it's a tangible thing that we give ourselves to measure. It's a product of measuring. I think time is just a product of measuring, and we can't put the possibility of anything inside of a box if it's coming from an almighty creator, if that's what you believe in. And even if you don't believe in that, then there's things that science can't even explain, that humans don't even understand. And I don't think that we should discredit anything because we don't understand it. We should just move forward with it and try to.
All right. Actually, if Nikki can hear us right now, we're going to go ahead and play that footage of...
Okay.
And I'm not sure if she can hear us or if she's in a different time sequence than we are. But we want to go ahead and try to play that footage. Let me see. I'll message her in the chat. Okay. Yeah, she heard it. So Nikki's going to actually share the screen on Google Plus to play that footage. And what I can also do is I can play it right here, right through the stream.
I am working on bringing it up right now for you.
Okay.
Okay.
And the whole time, your mic will be on as well, Rob. So if there's anything you'd like to say, both of us can talk at the same time at this point on. And anybody that has questions that you'd like to ask the Skeptic, please leave it in the live chat, and we will try to ask those questions. But we want to play some footage and kind of see what your opinion is.
Okay. Now, for the audio, we didn't talk about that. Am I going to be playing the audio?
Yeah, stereo mix would probably be the way to go.
Okay, you're going to have to give me a moment. Hold on.
Okay. And personally, anybody out there, if you know anybody that would like to be interviewed for Interview the Skeptic, I really feel this is an outlet that could truly help the field. Their opinions are just as valid and just as important as any of us in the field. So anybody that may know any skeptics, please have them email me at upstatesupernatural@gmail.com. Get a hold of me on Facebook or Google+. I would love to talk to them, love to do an interview with them. I appreciate more than anything being able to do the interview with you, Rob. You have a great outlook as a skeptic. You're very open-minded, which is very rare.
I appreciate you having me, man. This is definitely an honor.
Oh, I need to do that.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second. Let me present you. I'm not sure how good the clarity is going to be. See, well, the clarity should be good for you, but I'm not sure how well the clarity is going to be for everybody that's watching. It should be fine though. But whenever you're ready to play it, Nikki.
All right, I'm gonna take it back a second, and then just shout if there's any issues with audio. Okay.
Well, my first question would be, what type of equipment is being used here?
Oh, sure. Yep. Before you play it, this is a 16-channel surveillance system. The location is actually it's at the Finger Lakes Mall. It's known as the St. Joseph's Book Depository. The local mall has a book fair in July that they actually sell books for this Catholic church, and the mall has this area, which used to be a karate studio, that all the books are put into. The only way to get in this room is with a key, and the only people that have a key are the security guards. This footage was captured actually when we were doing our sanctioned hunt at the Finger Lakes Mall last August 1st.
So your Upstate Supernatural was the ones who did this investigation. This is your footage. This isn't mall surveillance.
Nope, this is my personal footage. We did a sanctioned hunt, and actually this footage was, we just set the camera down, and we were setting up placement of the cameras, and we turned on the surveillance system and then looked over the footage even as we were setting up, and this is actually what we found in setup. There is a shorter version on our YouTube channel which shows the person that actually set up the camera walking towards the room after it had already been set up, and you can actually see there's a massive distance between him and the camera. So for us, this was like a huge find because it's pretty outstanding. I mean, we were shocked with what we saw. But you can go ahead and play that, Nikki.
All right, go.
Keep your eyes to the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see the wheel and the boxes. Okay, and that's going to come right back up on the same side, and it's almost gonna, it actually goes right behind the camera. Keep your eyes to the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see the wheel on the bottom.
I have it so it's playing twice, actually.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to see it here. So it looks like somebody walks in front of the camera there, huh?
Come right back up on the same side, and it's almost gonna, it actually goes right behind the camera.
Looks like someone's leg takes a step right in front of the lens.
You can go ahead and turn that off, Nikki, if you want, just for the moment. The discrepancy with it is that the individual that set up the camera, he is almost 30 to 40 feet away from that room, from even being in front of the doorway. The other aspect is that camera is directly in front of a door. The door is shut. So there's nobody in the room whatsoever. What I've had other people see it, they said that it looks more like it's the height of a child. Instead of like a leg, because a couple people said they've seen the shoulders, they've seen the head. But it is, I mean, it's definitely, with any type of footage, they're anomalies. I mean, to say it is absolutely something, nobody out there can do that. Unless they, you know, can match the picture to an individual, you know, that's been dead for 30 years. But it definitely was an anomaly. I was just curious what your opinion was on it. You know what?
I mean, I would say that, does the camera have an autofocus on it? Was the air conditioning on at any point? What kind of baseline readings did you guys get beforehand that would, you know, rule that out? I mean, there's all kinds of things that could be. I mean, I saw the, you know, a couple of lens flares before I saw that. I saw the, you know, some pixelations and, you know, it's digital video, and, you know, until it's, you know, broken down completely, I would say that, you know, everything's technology is fallible. So, I mean, if I had to guess what that was, I mean, it looked like a leg to me, but I mean, I'd want to know, is the air conditioning on in there? Because I saw 2 AC vents in the ceiling with a light. You know, I saw what appeared to be the camera trying to refocus, and some pixelations and flares in there. So, I mean, I don't know. It could be any of those things.
No, I mean, those are definitely great, valid points. The air conditioning, I mean, it was August. Yeah, the air conditioning would have been on. For focus and so forth, it shouldn't. That actually shouldn't have caused that type of anomaly. And if you go ahead and watch it, anybody else that ever decides to watch it, if you watch, that figure actually does start on the right-hand side. It starts on the right-hand side of the camera, goes across, and then it goes down. Okay. That was one thing that I didn't even see the first time I saw it. But I definitely saw it was very, very interesting. But there was no lights that were on. There was nobody in front of the door. There was actually another skeptic said maybe it was a rat, maybe it was an animal that passed away in the room. The only discrepancy with that is, why would it come back? You know what I mean? If you watch the other footage that we have on our channel, it's actually the featured show if you're not subscribed, like the featured video. You can actually see Nick walking towards the area, and as he's doing that, you watch it go back and go forth. He then walks up to the room, bends down, and as he gets up to walk away is when it comes back, almost like it was intelligent enough to try to hide as he was coming. It was kind of weird.
Right. Well, I would also want, I mean, understanding how, you know, infrared works, I'm assuming that's what that was.
Yep.
You know, because it works on a different wavelength. You know, what was directly above you on the ceiling? Was there a generator or a power box? Was there an AC unit right up there? You know, I'd need to know every detail about the surrounding area before I could, you know, say that that's
the lights were actually,
just me, you know?
The lights were actually on the left hand side in the little rooms along. They're actually not directly down the middle.
Okay.
So I mean, that in itself, if the lights were on, you'd see an illumination on the about 3 to 4 feet forward on the left.
Right. I mean, and also, I mean, if you're at a mall or these studios too, they've got these huge air conditioning units that, you know, require a lot of power, like to sit directly on the ceiling. And I would want to know if you guys had gone up on the roof to determine, you know, was there any type of, you know, big electronic anything, air conditioning unit or power box right above your spot there.
No, I mean, those are definitely great and valid points. Nikki, if you're all set, we can actually play the next clip. And this was actually during one of our shows. This is Spirit Box Weekly. I actually referenced Samuel, Ghost Hunter of Stockton, California. He was actually in my show saying a bunch of different things, and right afterwards I go, spirits and communication. Can you tell us who Samuel is? The candle explodes. You've seen that part of it. I know you have because, we've talked about it before.
Yep.
The thing that happens afterwards, after the candle explodes, I believe is in this. I actually heard a phrase. I heard something said. The candle exploding, I thought, was an anomaly in itself. Was it paranormal or was it something else? I have no idea. But the voice afterwards, that was the thing that kind of got to me. So I'm just curious on your outlook.
Okay, you ready?
I am.
Can you guys see everything okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, here we go.
Any spirits in communication? How do you know Samuel?
Holy cow! You serious? That is some timing. Wow.
Any spirits in communication? How do you know Samuel?
Holy cow! You serious? That is some timing. Wow.
Just curious if you heard anything after it had happened through the spirit box itself.
I was trying to focus on that actually, to see if I heard anything through the spirit box, and I couldn't quite make out anything from that from the spirit box. I know that there's some people who have a better ear for that kind of thing, but as far as what do I think happened there, I saw when you went to blow it out, you had to huff and puff a couple of times to get that thing to go out. But one of the things that I did notice is that I think on that second puff when you blew, it seemed like there was a something shot off of it looked like a streak from the candle.
Yep. You
know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I would ask you, did you have a fan on? Was it what's the humidity level like there? Because I do know that with some ferrous and non-ferrous,
we always made sure the window was shut and there was no fan on in the room. So I mean it was we're sweating and stuff because it's kind of hot.
Yeah.
But
there's no breeze. I would say that the wax probably just got a little too hot and spontaneous combustion just heated it up enough. Non-ferrous candle just boom, the wax ignited, and I think that's what you blew off. When you're blowing it, it kind of a hot piece of wax might have come off from. And did you go back after and look at the carpet to see if you did in fact blow wax off of the candle?
Yeah, there wasn't. I didn't see any.
Okay. I would. That's what I would say. I'd venture to say that was just the wax got really hot and ignited and flared up like that.
Yeah, really.
Because
for me,
you're inside, it's got this tube, and when you've got air blowing across it with the fans on, it's kind of feeding that, and then getting it super hot, and then you get that right stream of air, and it curls up under there. You'll get some ignition if that wax is already hot enough.
Yeah, we when I do my shows, I actually try to leave all fans and windows and all that type of stuff shut, just so there's no contamination of audio. I mean, I can hear the fan on my computer right now, but that's the only thing that's going on, even in my room.
Okay.
Even at that location, we did the same thing. But anybody in the chat that has any questions for Skeptic, feel free to go ahead and type some questions out. I'm not sure if Nikki actually had any that she saw that people were already asking.
Hi. I did capture a few. I don't know that they were meant as questions, but they were brought up, and I found them of interest. So I figure I would throw them in here to kick things off in case people are shy. Let's see. Someone stated within the chat, as a skeptic myself, the most common question I get is, why do I ghost hunt when I'm a skeptic? And I guess my question for you, Rob, is, do you ghost hunt?
I do not ghost hunt, but not because I am a skeptic. If I were to ghost hunt as a skeptic, it would be to prove to myself. But the reason that I don't right now is because I don't know enough about what I'm looking at. I don't have enough of the tools, and it's not because I won't buy them, but because I don't know enough about the tools. Coming from a military background, we have to know everything that there is about the equipment that we use so that we're, efficient at what we do. And as an open-minded skeptic, I guess, is the best way of putting it, I want to know everything that I can know about the equipment before I take it out in the field so that I can rule anything out, and I can use that equipment efficiently.
Nice. There was actually another question that I got along the way, and that one was, it was actually funny because I marked it as an interesting comment, but it actually turned into a question. It was stated, it's an interesting that a skeptic believing in heaven and hell. Would love to know why he thinks that. So your views that you stated on heaven and hell, and why you think that.
Why do I believe in a heaven and a hell? I don't know that heaven and hell are what we perceive it to be as, these two different places. You know what I mean? I think that from some of the studies that I've done that have to do with Judaism, I believe that heaven and hell already coexist here on earth. And because it tells us in the Bible that he's going to come back to reestablish his kingdom, and not to destroy the earth and not to do away with it, and then everybody gets taken up into the sky and all. I don't believe that. I believe that when he says in heaven and hell, it's either you're inside of this new kingdom that's been established, or you're out right here on earth as we know it. I think that a lot of people, the popular belief of what heaven and hell actually is, I don't believe that that's what it is.
Okay. There's another question. And that one is, what would it take to change your mind on your skeptical belief?
Oh, man. Consistency. Consistency would be what it would take to change my mind. I know a lot of skeptics say, oh, well, I would have to have my own experience, or this would have to fly off the table, or, and that would be great for me. But I still wouldn't, I would almost venture to say that I still wouldn't believe at this point if something flew off the table or did this or did that, because if the paranormal does exist, then it does or it doesn't. And any piece of equipment that is used to communicate with or prove the existence of should work on a 100% consistent basis. And that's just, I want it to work consistently. If I take a piece of equipment that works for Nikki, or a piece of equipment that works for Dom, I want to know that I can take that piece of equipment everywhere and get results out of it.
Question I did see in the chat. Sorry to cut in, Nikki. Kelly said, being a skeptic, having viewed some of the things already, what, in your opinion, is a piece of equipment that you have seen that has gotten the best responses from when you have been a part of any of the sessions, like through YouTube and so forth?
I would say that it would have to be a digital recorder. The spirit boxes that I've seen are nice, They get used a lot. There's a lot of different types that I've seen used. But being what a spirit or ghost box is, it leaves a lot of room for what ifs or could be's or maybes or maybe nots. But when you have a digital recorder and you've got these EVPs, you know, and you're hearing something on these digital recorders that can't be explained, that's in a voice, you know, that's where I am. The EVP is the only thing keeping me open-minded about this, because you can't fake audio coming through a digital recorder when nobody's talking. You know, I would venture to say that that's the one that intrigues me the most, keeps me on the fence and open-minded about this, and I love it.
Was there any other questions you saw as well, Nikki, like earlier?
No, we got all the ones from earlier, although Callie did just post another. I'm not sure if you just saw that.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, no others from earlier. For some reason, I missed a message. Please go ahead and post it back in. I apologize. I tried to copy and paste, and I actually went to someone else's channel.
All right.
But I think I got them all.
Yeah, I'll do Callie's question as well. What is your opinion on someone with abilities, perhaps like an empath or a psychic, or even a witch, you know, in that essence, on how they are considered within the paranormal field in general?
Well, I know earlier in the interview I said that the term paranormal can be extremely relative and subjective to any individual using it. So I would say that any ability that would be considered within that field would be subjective as well. And how does it fit in, or how does it tie in to the paranormal field in general? I think that if there is spirits and ghosts that we are talking to, and psychics and mediums and witches do exist, I don't think we need the technology that we have today if those people can actually do what they say they can do. You know, I mean, why if these people are able to speak with these spirits or entities or anomalies or directly, why do we need a spirit box or an EVP? You know, why? I mean, are they born with that ability, or do you teach yourself that ability? You know, the consistency. They're back again to consistency. I want to see the consistency in the paranormal field.
Actually, another person wrote another question. And I mean, I have my own opinion as well on this one. Do you think that anyone can create a pact with the spirits? Like, basically, they are the only ones that can contact the spirits if spirits do exist? I mean, do you think that's probable, that somebody could be the only one in charge?
There, one person speaking to all the spirits? Absolutely not. There are more dead people than there are people who are alive right now. And to think that one individual can communicate with all of those dead people, which seem to be from the 1800s and the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, and not, you know, an uncle that died yesterday, I don't accept that.
Okay. Yeah, I personally, I mean, for me, I think that if spirits are out there, they're not going to say, I'm only going to talk to this guy, or I'm only going to talk to this person. You know, if they're trying to communicate, there's a reason they're trying to communicate, whether it's help or guidance or something like that, or acknowledgement. You know, to say, hey, I'm only going to talk to this person. What if he's not paying attention? You know, it's just a waste of energy in that essence. Mystic Hazard, actually, she does her own channel as well, along with Nikki Paranormal. If anybody isn't subscribed to her, check out her channel. She's got great stuff on there.
She's a great girl.
As do you. But Mystic did say, what are certain aspects of the paranormal that you do believe exist? She knows you're a skeptic and you want proof, but what are certain things you believe could or do exist?
That's a great question. When it comes to the paranormal, what do I believe exists? I believe that there are people who believe that they've seen things and heard things. I believe that there are people who have been touched, that, you know, they believe they've been touched. I would never tell anybody that their experience wasn't real, or that what they feel that they can do isn't real. That's not for me to judge. That's not for me to say what's right or wrong, or is or isn't, because I only know what exists within my reality. And to the second portion, she says, what proof and what proof of certain things? What are certain things I do believe could or do exist? I believe anything could exist. I believe that any of this could be real. I believe that any of this could not be. You know, I could be wrong when it comes to what I believe as far as the religious aspect. That's why I don't preach. That's why I don't shove it down people's throats, and that's really why I don't talk about it a whole lot, because that's, you know, just my personal belief based off of, you know, what I've studied and what I've researched, and some of those things are tangible and you can place your hands on them. But I don't. That's tough to say what's real for one person, you know, and judge them based on what they tell me. You know, I don't like doing that. I don't like to tell people that, you know, what they've experienced isn't real, because then that's casting judgment, and that's patronizing them, and I don't like to do that to people.
Another question was thrown out there. If you had a choice of going to one place where you believe you may, in fact, encounter something that is considered paranormal, where would that place be, and why?
Actually, I don't know that it would be considered paranormal, and I don't know that it's ever been investigated. But I would want to go to Normandy. I'd want to go to Iwo Jima. I'd want to go to Guadalcanal. I'd want to go to the Ardennes Forest, where some of the biggest battles of World War II were fought, and maybe talk to some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, personally, my biggest one has always been Alcatraz. It's just an interesting place, you know, with all the history and I mean, you know, the kind of dangerous people that were there. But Normandy definitely is on one of my list of. There was a lot of death that was there, and you know, historically, it was, you know, it was a big location, you know, during World War II. Was there any other? Trying to see. I don't see any other questions. Oh, one just popped on there. What do you think is the most common cause which makes people think they have seen a ghost, scientifically?
Scientifically, what is the most common cause? Well, have you ever stared at a light bulb for a really, really long time, and when you blink your eyes, you can see the outline of it, and stuff like that? I think it might be like the same might apply. If you have a little dust particle on your eyeball, or if there's something stuck to your eyelashes that you just can't really focus on, but you're looking at it all day, maybe I've even heard of places where the wind blows in such a manner that can create vertigo and you know, people can actually hallucinate because of the way that the wind vibrates your eardrums. I would say that, you know, just, you know, something to that effect. You know, just something we're looking at all day, we're not aware of or focused on, and then, you know, you wipe it away and you're seeing it. You know, it kind of that photographic, when you're looking at it, kind of, I don't know what the term is called, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to get to.
Another one was actually, it was in reference to the Sally House, but I'm actually going to broaden it out a little bit. Would you be biased, or would you be ever interested in going to one of the most known haunted locations and spending the night there?
Yeah, I'd do it. I'm not afraid. I mean, if he's asking me if I'm scared, no, I'm not. I would do it. And yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there's any other questions, feel free to pop it in the chat. I'd love to give some personal shout outs for some of the people that are viewing. We got Southwest UK Ghost Hunters. If you haven't checked out his channel, definitely check it out. He does some interesting things. He has a surveillance system on as he does his stream. And, you know, he is one of my top shows that I like to watch just because it's an interesting aspect to do it in that light. And then we have Nikki Paranormal. She does a lot of shows, radio shows with liveparanormal.com. And she also does her own stuff on YouTube as well. We got Peach on a Leash, Mystic Hazard. Mystic Hazard does some ITC, Spirit Box communication on her channel as well. And let me see, we got Ghost of Britain. Actually, thank you so much for being here. First time actually seeing you in here. But I did subscribe to his channel. He's got some interesting things on his channel. He's actually a ghost hunter that is a skeptic, full-on skeptic. So it's really interesting to see some of the stuff he had on there. And
oh yeah,
we got Quizzle, Callie, Christian Wildman. Just going back through the list. Mistress of Myself, Michael Liberty, Crystal Love. Let me see. Butterfly Kisses. There's quite a few, and if anybody would like to pop their name in there, we'd love to give you a shout out as well. But if anybody's ever interested for really interesting conversations and stuff in the paranormal, honestly, check out UCI Paranormal and Serputis. They do great shows. It's very interactive with the Hangout, and they touch a lot of really good topics. If you haven't checked out their stuff, definitely do that. I would love to thank you again for doing the show with us. And we got Joey as well that's in here with us.
I've got two more questions that came in the chat. If
Sure.
I can throw them in quickly.
Yeah, that's fine. Paraghoster's in here.
Okay. One of them is, what is your opinion on mirrors being considered energy portals or vortexes, and would you consider them to be credible things to use during an investigation?
No. Water. Water is what I would consider to be the best, if anything, because it was what was used to view a reflection and show. It's got an inherent energy to it. It's a biological thing. You know, it exists, and that's what people used to see their reflection before mirrors existed. And mirrors are a very man-made thing, and I would say try water instead of a mirror.
Okay. And then the other question is, okay, what would you do if a ghost appeared in front of you right now?
Question whether it was a ghost or not. Is that a ghost that I'm looking at, and how do I know it's a ghost that I'm looking at? I would try to touch it. I would reach out and I would try to touch it, and I would try to put my hands on it and feel what it is, and I would want to know what it is, because I wouldn't. I've never seen one, so I wouldn't know that it was.
And also, just to give another shout out, I think Chris V is doing a show. She's doing an ITC session. You can check out the link on Paraglobal TV. She'll probably be using the Phasma box, which is made by Extreme Senses. And Martin has the Spirit Talk communication app. It's a free app. Don't forget to check it out. But we will be doing our show on Thursday for Live Paranormal, Live Spirit Frequencies. And we'll also be doing our last episode of Loving Whispers until the fall, this Friday. And then Spirit Box Weekly, we will continue, and we're going to start testing the PSB 11. Sunday, I actually plan on doing basically a pre-game show. Nikki and AT Jenna are actually doing an interview of Martin, the creator of Extreme Senses. So I'm going to try to do a pre-game show testing out various different devices that he's created for maybe an hour or two right before their radio show. So if anybody's interested, or Rob, if you'd like to join in, you're more than welcome to. But that'll be Sunday. I still got to figure out the time and everything. But with the 4th of July, thank you everybody for viewing. Have a great Independence Day if you're from America. If you're from Canada, have a great Independence Day tomorrow. And thank you again for everybody that's here. And thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you for having me.